say 3:01. First thing is Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody will stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is approval of last meeting's minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any conflicts of interest? No? Okay. Next one up is public comments. Again, approach the podium if you have something. I have one, Julie. Just 3 minutes. State your name, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Julie Priest, and I would just like to remind everyone that we're still in Historic Preservation Month, and we have a few nice things still to come up. Tomorrow, we have the Women's Club of Stewart Historic Marker unveiling, and that is at 4 o'clock. And also, after that, you could go from one to the other. At 5:30 p.m., there is a lecture on the adaptive reuse of historic buildings at the old courthouse, which I think lines up beautifully with our CRA work, and Mr. Rick Gonzalez will be giving that presentation. And then we have the Preservationist of the Year, who is Kathy Spurgeon, who served on our Hope Sound CRA committee, NAC. She may have been on the first group. She is going to be our Preservationist of the Year for 2024. You might come to that between 5 and 6:30 p.m. That would be on May 23rd. Then the Elliott Museum will be holding an open house on May 28th on remembrances of Kurt Whitaker. So that starts and goes on between 5 and 8 p.m. And then the Historic Preservation Month open house at the log cabin, well, you'll see a video of Mr. Vince Bacchino, who was our Parks Director in that area, District 1, many years ago. He will be giving a video on how the log cabin was dismantled and then reassembled, because the log cabin was built here by Stewart Middle School originally as part of the New Deal program. So that's also very interesting to learn that history. So I thank you very much. I hope you will participate.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Very good. Let's move on to presentations. CRA Capital Projects Review.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and board members. Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. We'll talk about a couple of the projects and maybe some updates on them, and then feel free to ask any questions you might have about any of the others. You will notice that some have moved off the list because we have completed a few this year. So first one we'll talk about briefly is Camino. Bid went out, and the opening for the bids is June 5th. So everybody send really good low bid vibes for us for June 5th. And we'll bring that to you at the next meeting. Hobe Sound Dixie Highway Stormwater and Streetscape Project. We are moving ahead with Phase 1, and that includes moving the train. Well, Phase 1 is the train station and some parking improvements. We did have a Public Works hosted an open house last month for the Hobe Sound community. This is probably the 4th time maybe it's been brought to the community, and discussed the conceptuals, the drawings of where the train station is going to go and how that's going to work. Everybody was very enthusiastic about it. They seem to be excited about the project. So the right-of-way abandonment has been completed. That's 5,465 square feet, which adjoins to county property on the east. And I'll show you a little picture. So here's Dixie Highway. This is county property right here, this triangle, and this is what county right-of-way that has been abandoned for this project. Again, that was 5,465 square feet. All of this will accommodate the installation of the historic Hobe Sound train station, which has been donated to the county by the Atlantic Fields developer. So as right-of-way always works, half of it goes to the one, each property owner on either side. So half of it went to that property owner, the other half went to the county. That property owner then donated their half to us. So we do have the whole piece there. We will be working next on going to the Board of County Commissioners to assign a land use and a zoning designation to that right-of-way, because as you know, we can't build on anything that does not have a land use or a zoning designation. And once that approved, we're going to go to the board on June 4th. Once that is in motion, we will bring this item back to you in June, and to the LPA in June, and to the board for final approval July 9th. It will go through the usual iterations of signs will go up, letters will go out to the community, et cetera, and the public meetings will be advertised. So right now, we're looking at CRA Board June 24th, LPA June 20th, and final approval July 9th. Any questions on that? We're good? All right.
Very good, thank you. Next up is new business, office.
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I was just done with that.
sorry.
Good try, though, yes, yeah. So we'll move then to Palm City Place and Patio. I know you all got a flyer at your place, and for the audience, these are available out by the sign-in sheet. That'll be June 1st, and I hope everybody can attend. We're going to have the Nouveau Honkies and food trucks, and Commissioner Campy will speak, and our CRA board chair will speak. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, lots of games to be played. So I look forward to seeing you all there. And last but not least, just a quick investment program that will be coming to you later on the agenda. Jana will be doing a completion report for you. Now I'm done.
Sorry about the interruption. Okay, new business, tentative operating budget.
So I'll be presenting that along with Mrs. Stephanie Murley, our Office of Management and Budget Director. We are submitting our fiscal year 2025 tentative operating budget to the Board of County Commissioners in July. Our operating costs, as I'm sure you saw, have increased due to three things. We have an FTE approved last year. She's been hired. A 6% increase in FRS contributions, that's the retirement system, and a 44% increase in life and health insurance. So if you'd like to go through the budget, we can do that. If you'd just like to ask some questions, if you have questions. Do we want to just have question time? We'll just, I'll bring up a copy of it.
Is that life and health just an allocation based on the number of heads, based on what the county, is that life and health based, just an allocation based on the number of heads, based on the overall county budget for that, or?
So this question comes up a lot, and it depends on the person that's actually in the position and what their current elections are for life and health insurance. So I recently just looked at this actually, and it's showing a 44% increase, which is pretty drastic for budgeting purposes. But what had happened was a couple of people last year went from single coverage to family coverage. And so that, and then in addition to a 5% increase in premiums that the counties experienced, both on the employer and employee side.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's up 100% over 2 years.
Oh, yes,
right? So
yes.
That's a huge budget item.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah, actually, that was my thing too. That's causing a lot of heartburn for that significant amount of increase.
Yes, that's dictated by our current plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield and the premium costs that I'm sure everybody's experiencing.
So the county pays the family portion too, or does the employee pay the family portion?
So we have approximately 78%, 22% split for our all of our coverage, regardless if you have single or family. And our single coverage is running about $7,800 for the employer cost, and then our family insurance is running about $19,000 for family cost. We don't have a multi-tiered structure. We have only, you have single coverage or you have total family coverage. We don't have multi-tier of like employee plus spouse or anything like that.
It's a hell of a benefit.
So the only other piece that I wanted to,
Susan, I just.
yes,
Real quick. For the salaries, how many employees does that cover?
really 5 1/3. So there's 5 full-time. We do have a 6th full-time, however, her salary is paid 2/3 by general fund, the county, and 1/3 by TIF. And the reason for that is, and that kind of segues me into what I was going to say anyway, so thanks, Jamie, for the assist. Right into where you see CRA Administration Fund, Art and Public Places, and General Fund. And as you know, we're the Office of Community Development. We oversee 3 different things, one of them being CRA, one of them being Art and Public Places, and one of them being Historic Preservation. Art and Public Places and Historic Preservation are county-wide programs, so the county pays for those because TIF cannot pay for that. So that is why you see the numbers that you see there, and why 2/3 of Elise's position, because she will be operating AIPP and Historic Preservation, comes under general fund and not under CRA funds. That's all I had. We're happy to answer any other questions.
I will make a comment that it seems to have gone up less this year than it did last year over the year before, which is, I guess, better than not.
Looking for a positive. Thank you, Rex. Appreciate that.
Well, I can tell though, from this year to next year, it's been pretty steady. The only thing that I did notice, the training, do we have more new employees for training, or what is that geared toward? The training portion?
So training is for our staff to increase educationally. We have a certificate program that the Florida Redevelopment Association offers, and we encourage our employees to go through that. So that does cost a bit of money, and there's a little travel involved with that. And then we have our annual conference, which is the only real industry conference that CRAs have in Florida, and we attend that as well.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
So we are looking for a motion from the board, but I think you need to take public comment as well? Yes?
Okay. Any public comment on the proposed budget? No? Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the budget as presented.
Second it.
Second. Any discussion, more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is old business, the Spark program.
So I'm going to take that one as well. I'm going to go through the presentation that Treasure Coast Regional Planning did for the Board of County Commissioners very quickly, not going to stop on each slide. And I'm doing this because the CRA board last year, when this program was approved, it was approved last May by the board, and this board had requested that we do an evaluation after the first year. So that's what I'm bringing you today, is an evaluation of the program. So I'm just going to go through it real quick, just to refresh your memory about what it is. So it's called SPARK, Special Parking Alternatives for Redevelopment Centers. And it's in each of the CRAs. Looks a little bit different in each one. Again, it was adopted and approved last May 9th, 2023. So this is a payment in lieu of program provides a mechanism for property owners or applicants to satisfy part of their parking requirement by paying in lieu for some of their required parking spaces. So it does not purchase existing spaces, it does not reserve spaces for anybody, and there's no guarantee of getting spaces. So these were the recommendations. The limits on usage is that it is not employed in any residential areas. Residential areas are not eligible for the Spark program. Is there a limit to the number of spaces? Yes, there is a limit. An applicant can use up to 3 spaces or 35% of required parking requirements. So 30% really is the number, or I should say the percentage of the required parking, but you would get a 5% bonus if you were 100 feet to a Marty bus stop with a shelter. You'd get an extra 5%. Is there a geographic limit? Yes, it depends on the CRAs. We did shop this around, as you know, to all of the neighborhood advisory committees to take a look at where they thought the program would be best utilized in their areas. And we can look at that real quick. In Jensen, it is pretty much the entire of Jensen Beach CRA. That would include the core, the general, and the waterfront subdistrict. In Rio, it is limited to core and corridor. Core is this darker pink, and corridor is this sort of salmon-y color. So that's where the program, people are eligible to utilize the program. In Palm City, it is the core, which again is this pretty much the center, Map Road and environs. In Hobe Sound, it's core, corridor, and general. So your core is here and here. This is the Bridge Road area. Corridor, again, is these salmon pieces, and general is that golden yellow piece or mustardy yellow piece. In Port Salerno, it is core, corridor, general, and waterfront. Waterfront is the blue here on the waterfront, obviously. And then all of the gold, the salmon, and the core. And in Golden Gate, it is the core and the corridor, which are these pieces right off Dixie Highway. So the cost per space is $24,600. That is what an applicant would pay. The money can be used for many different things. These are some of them. Again, we went to each neighborhood advisory committee, talked about that. What would be their priorities as to how to spend any Spark funds in their CRA areas. So maybe that's something I should just point out. If an applicant or a developer or whoever it is in a CRA area uses the Spark program, that money stays within that area, and the money can only be spent within that area. So that's why it was important to talk to folks there to kind of get their sense of what the priority would be in spending the money. Those fees would be part of the development order of the builder developer that would be on their building permit or their business tax receipt that runs with the property. So if the property is sold, then that space stays with that property. So the next person doesn't have to buy that again. And this is how it's recorded. We would document it as well. And then again, evaluate the program the first year and every 3 years thereafter. These were the recommendations that this board gave us to bring to the Board of County Commissioners last year. The clarify rounding to the nearest whole number is the way that this is done in growth management and pretty much throughout the county, which is, let's say your percentage came out to, you get 2.2 spaces. Well, then you get 2 spaces. And if you get 2.7 spaces, you round up to 3 spaces. So we're going along with the way the way it works in the rest of the county. So I also added in the ordinance for you all, the Muni code, sorry, for you all to look at. If you wanted to read that, that was attached. Evaluation of the program is that we're still hoping somebody will use it soon. Nobody has as of yet. We had one developer that was a little bit interested in it in Hope Sound. They decided to build spaces instead. So we're still keeping it in our toolbox for economic development for those that may use it in the future. So if we do get a good bite on that anytime soon, I'll certainly let you all know. But that's where we are with it right now.
Any questions?
So the business in Hope Sound that decided it was, what, cheaper for them to build their own parking spots?
I don't know what their decision-making process was, Mike, to be honest with you. They built them right in front of their new place, so maybe they wanted to have those spaces close. That would be my guess.
Okay.
Couple of questions. I've got this 24,600 down. Is that what it is now
Correct.
for space? And how do the developers know about this program? Are they told as they apply, or they just have to know about it?
Couple of different ways. One, it's in the code, so, and it's always been there. So when you're looking in the code to start your development process, you would see that. And then secondly, if there is a parking issue, we would certainly offer it to them.
So Susan, if a small business decides to build and they, for whatever reason, don't want to participate, what would happen? Or they just wouldn't have that option to have that parking for their business?
So depending on where you are, Jamie, and your size and different, sub-districts and whatever, you have required parking that you must deliver. So if you're opening a business and you have to have 3 spaces, and you can't because you don't have the real estate to have 3 spaces, then you either utilize Spark or you choose a different spot. So that's one of the reasons why we thought the program had so much merit, because we want small businesses to come. And if you're doing infill development or you're moving into, a building that's already there, sometimes it's difficult to come by those spaces.
Thank you.
Sure.
Susan, are you aware of any communities that instead of a flat fee, it's a smaller fee, but it is tied to the property and is an annual fee? Like, by reducing the initial price but having it perpetual, would that increase the?
I don't know of any programs that
That
run
does
that
that?
way.
Right.
No. I think that probably that would be difficult to keep up, and then how does it run with it after that? Yeah. You lose that benefit. Yeah.
With the CRA areas having small pieces of property, it looks like this would be used more, and that's why I'm wondering, are we putting it out there enough for people to really understand that it's there and available?
So are you suggesting the sandwich board idea, Rex? I could make one. I mean, I've offered before. No, I don't know. I think that if you're a small business or you're developing an infill lot, I think that these are things that you might already know about in the CRA. But again, we're always offering any of these tools to folks that come in because they're helpful and they're important. So I'm not sure how I would advertise it, I guess is what I'm saying. But we could talk about that and see
I'm not sure.
what ideas we might have. We do have a new communications person. Sorry, Elise, throwing you under the bus.
You think that can be done for the residents?
At this point, no, I don't think that we're going to offer it to them. I mean, I would like to see, Sadia, how it works commercially,
Because,
but residential, it's not, that would be a much tougher sell residentially.
you gotta take a drive in my neighborhood and you see what's going on. It's really, even the signs, they pull them out.
Because so many people are parking.
Yeah, they have so many parties, and when they see a like no parking sign, they just take it off. And right now is it's a nightmare. Anyway, Fairmont, that's all I'm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this program would solve that problem.
No, I don't think it would.
Well, if you direct them to a certain parking, like they park over the Cassidy Center parking lot, a lot of people park there, and maybe you should charge them there.
But theoretically, any money raised through the Spark program could be used to assist mobility in the residential areas of the NAC or the commercial areas. Is that not true?
That's correct. The money
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
just get spent
Right.
in that like, say, Justin Core or Justin Carter can be spent anywhere in that CRA
To the
district.
extent that we're able to attract
Yeah.
the money to do it, we could.
Yeah.
We have a lot of empty property that belong to the county. It would be a great idea in the Golden Gate that to have those type of parking.
So you're suggesting build parking lots?
Well, kind of, yeah.
No, that's, I mean,
I mean, we have a property.
that's what it would be, sure.
And you could have like, all the parking areas, you have to go through the parking, pay or get tickets or whatever. They have them at the airport, they have them in some residence. It would be a lot more relief for my community anyway, because I'm about had it with them.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, let's move on.
Anything out of that? Nothing?
No, that was just informational. Thank you, Mike.
CRA Investment Program project completion.
Where are you, Jana?
Good afternoon. Jana Cox, Office of Community Development. As you all know, we approved the CRA investment program in November of '22, and we like to come back to you and show you what you approved once it's finished. This particular one was approved. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and I'll go back. In November of '23, and completed and reimbursed in April of '24. And I just wanted to show you that it's about a 6-month process. This was actually held up just a tiny bit because of supplies, but it's not a drawn-out process. It's not years. It was 6 months. So this particular one is number 6, application number 6 for our CRA investment program, and it's located in Hope Sound. Again, our program was approved in November of '22, and to date, we have 10 applicants and 8 that are finished all the way through. The program types are property improvement. All 10 of ours have been property improvement. We don't have, to date, any fence or landscape applications. This particular one, they got new windows and doors and provided landscaping. I presented this one at the Hope Sound meeting in May, and this particular project, we solved a problem for a property owner. So I'll skip ahead again. This building right here, and I'll show you another picture after I show you this one. They had an issue with people driving up to the back end parking from their parking lot. And so they were driving on a brand new sidewalks and driveway that was completed with the Bridge Road project. So I wanted to show you this picture really quickly. So they were driving, so this is the brand-new driveway and sidewalk that was completed. So they were driving through here on the driveway, on the 6-foot sidewalk, and on this sidewalk to back in park instead of going this way and backing in. So,
I was trying to figure out what.
right, so that's why I
You
want,
can see it all, and they were doing it all the time.
that's why I wanted to show you this picture because it's
That's perfect.
kind of hard to understand, but we presented a couple of things, maybe a bike rack here or some plants here, but nothing really worked because it was on their property. Or actually, it was on our property and they didn't want to sign on any liens or anything. So we decided to put the planters here on their property. And I'll go back to the presentation if I can figure that out. Here?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the after pictures, you can see, this is where the planters, but they went all the way down the sidewalk. And the property owner stated that it is working and nobody's driving on the sidewalk any longer. Which brings me to the fact that we want to try to market this program and find issues that people can apply for and fix. So for instance, if code enforcement is finding that your property is not in compliance with maybe the dumpster, because we have to have dumpster enclosures in the CRAs, then we would want to visit those businesses and say, we can help you by reimbursing you the 80%, because they might not know that this program is out there. So we're going to get some brochures and go door to door and talk to people and do some advertising. So back to this one. It is in the core area because only certain areas qualify for this program. And the process is if you are in that area and you identify a need or you want to improve your property, you apply through us, and we have all of our forms on the website. We have little packets. So like I said, this is applicant number 6. I have the property owner, the location, the building improvements. They got 2 impact-rated garage doors, hurricane-resistant entrance doors, and 6 flower pots for the sidewalk. And this question was asked at the NAC meeting. They are maintaining the plants. We are not. So they were reimbursed 80% of the cost, which was $13,906, and their owner contribution was $2,853. And I did want to show you that they also, on the before pictures, you can see their asphalt right here. They replaced that before the garage doors, which was on their own. It wasn't part of the project. So it just shows that they are willing to do improvements as well. So these are the before pictures. The brand new doors on the computer store, and then you can see the garage doors and the plants.
Nice.
And we have where to apply on our website. It's fairly easy. Get 3 quotes and present it to us, and then we bring it to you. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Do each of the CRA program managers get notified when there is a code enforcement issue in the CRA?
I'm working on that. I have an Acela report in the works so that we can look and see. We would like for them to notify us, but
Right.
they don't always.
Yeah, because that'd be an easy way for you to quickly review it and see if it'd be eligible, right? Yeah.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things is not get involved in code enforcement, but just be there to help if they need.
Right, yes.
Correct.
And then I can offer some suggestions.
Okay.
As to some in Port Salerno, there's, and then I don't know how you would want me to deliver that to you by email or,
You can send me an email. That's perfect.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving along, do you have anything else before we move to comments?
I do.
Go ahead.
Just a couple of things. Just wanted to let you all know that we are going to have new county emails for our boards. So CRA board would be one of those. You will be getting a county email. At the next meeting, we're going to go through all of that, and we're going to have a little public records training as well. So I am hoping, Mike is looking so happy about that. It's a very important,
Take care of our public's record training for the year.
yes.
All right.
Well, for us, yes. For the state, I don't know. But so I really hope that all of you can be here for that. It's important. That is the email that you will use moving forward. And then the other thing that I wanted to let you know is financial reports are due July 1st. So they're a little bit different this year. We used to send them, I believe, to like the supervisor of elections, and you would just send them the form and they would take care of it. Now they're kind of out of the loop and it goes directly to the Commission on Ethics. So what I'm going to do, these are annual, you're supposed to be doing them annually. I'm going to send you the email that I received so that you can register with them and you can get the form, fill it out, and just email it directly to them. And that needs to be done by July 1st. Our next meeting is June 24th, so if you do have questions, we can go over it that day, and you'll still have time to get your form in before the deadline. Or you can always, receive this and then give me a call. That's fine, too. So lots of big stuff coming up. And that's all I have for today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along, we're to public comments at this point. If anybody has any public comments, come to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Gary Erler. I'm a resident of Port Salerno. Under the infrastructure partnership that we skipped over, which was 24-0910, my comments are about the Park Drive and the CRA. It says sewer installation, road paving, some drainage, tree and lighting, pole removal, concrete pads, and new signage. That would be great. Stop the clock, by the way.
Right here.
Public Works is designing and constructing the project with CRA funding and Park Drive activities. None of this pertains to the upland facility because you are using CA funds, yet it's not a CRA NAC project. We were told they're starting, as far as the septic to sewer goes, from Pirates Cove South, which happens to be this main area, which is what they need for the upland facility, but yet the other side of the tracks on the west, and last but not least, where it's most needed is New Monrovia and the surrounding areas are up to 5 years away. I'm going to talk about septic to sewer at every meeting I can until I run out of time, and then I'll pick it up again the next time. Septic to sewer, I'm sorry, is the #1 issue, and any funds from the Port Salerno CRA, as far as we're concerned, being a lot of the residents, which I don't have many here today, I just want to make sure that the NAC funds pertaining to Port Salerno are not used for the upland facility since it's not a CRA NAC project. That's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I give a little historical perspective?
You can.
Okay. When I started here in 2017, that's when the Park Drive project also began, and sewer was always a part of that for Park Drive, which was a CRA project. The rest of the area there is utilities and public works. So that's always been a CRA project, which included sewer. So that project is now going to finally, or parts of it will get done this year. and we will pay that piece out of infrastructure partnerships. And the reason that it's coming out of that is because we had already, that project was already a done deal before we went to CIP, and all of that changed. So we cannot go back and say, oh, sorry, now we're not going to pay for what we've committed to. And that was brought up to the NAC and approved, just so you know.
And just to clarify, Susan, the Upland facility is not being funded through the CRA.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Casey Cass, SOS, as you guys know me. Not me, but the people that I hang with anyway. But really, the reason I'm up here today is to thank you. You know, the NAC wanted to move our funds to New Monrovia, and it required your support. And the fact that you supported us meant a lot to everybody. The only other thing I'd like to comment on is just a few minutes ago when we were talking about advertising to businesses that have code enforcement. They're still businesses. You know, they still need to take care of their business and stay within code. And it was my understanding, maybe Susan can clarify for me, it was my understanding that they needed to be in compliance in order to qualify for CRA funds. So if they have, it's kind of to go and say, hey, you're out of you have a code enforcement issue, let us give you some money to do it, just seems to be a little bit off. And I say that because, you know, I built my business, you know, from the ground up. I had a lot of money when I started, and then I had a lot of nothing. And I struggled meeting all of the town codes and trying to do everything. And, you know, in order to be a viable, decent employer, you've got to at least carry yourself. So lead by example is kind of my impression of that. What I like the idea of making people aware that they can make improvements that benefit the community, the aesthetics of the community, and the overall well-being of the community, but code enforcement isn't the angle to go in at. When you said that earlier, that made sense to me. But most of all, my main purpose for being here is to thank you. Lastly, I'd like to say, you know, there's a lot of people in neighborhoods that don't understand the CRA, and I propose that if we're going to make brochures, maybe we should write them in Spanish and help out Golden Gate. I'll be glad to go door to door and deliver them so they understand what's available to them, what we're trying to achieve. Same thing with New Monrovia and all of those neighborhoods. You know, I'll even help pay for them. So thank you for supporting us.
Take your money.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Why not?
So I would also like to just respond to Casey's code enforcement, because I think that's something that is a little misunderstood. Yes, he is correct. You are to be in compliance with code when you open your business or you build your building. Codes do change, so people do kind of fall out of compliance occasionally, or they don't keep up. So what the program is intended to do is if somebody applies, a business or a property owner applies and they do have something that they're not in compliance with, that has to be part of the application. So in other words, we're not going to give you dollars to paint your building if you need a dumpster enclosure. You're going to have to add that to the program. That's going to have to be part of it. So if you are going to have a successful investment application, code, and you have code issues, all of those things need to be included as well, or we will recommend denial of your application. So I hope that that helps clarify.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Any comments from the members?
I just wanted to thank Susan, because as you guys know and you hear all the time, the sewer is the biggest issue or concern in Port Salerno. I have to thank her for always, taking my emails and bugging her about it and saying, I want it on the next meeting. So I do want to thank you for, because it will keep coming up until we, get it resolved. Because, technically, I really feel like infrastructure should be the first thing that should go into play. But, all right, thank you.
We gotta do something about speeding and Dixie Highway, because I'm sure everyone here heard that woman pregnant with twins, she was going with her kids. Passed away because the other woman from the other side coming, she swiped her and our Dixie Highway was closed for almost 7 hours. And of course, all that traffic was back to Golden Gate streets. It was a nightmare. They did a couple signs, those blinking signs. They have a lot better signs on St. Lucie Boulevard than they do on the Dixie Highway. And I mentioned this before about Dixie Highway speed limit. And just so come and look at it yourself and you see how many speeders are. And I talked to the sheriff department, but I'm gonna stop there. Really, because it's sad to see a woman pregnant with twins.
Horrible.
It was not only horrible, it was sad. It break my heart to see, those babies, 7.5 months pregnant, that's not right. It's just not right. And this woman who hit her, supposedly she had a problem before of tickets and stuff. She's always speeding, but supposedly she was high. Who should I talk to?
The sheriff's office really, Sadia, is the only thing that I can think of. We've
Well-
redone the road, we've put in the median, we've put up the signs, we've got blinking signs, we've changed the speed limit. I honestly, I have to say, I'm kind of out of ideas. If people are not going to follow the rules, I don't know how to adjudicate their bad behavior, The only ones that can really do that is the sheriff's office by ticketing them, fining them. I don't know what else you do.
The truth is, they can be millionaire if they start giving them a ticket on our
Yeah.
Dixie Highway, because it's so many, it's just really
And I
sad.
know we've talked about the speed limit, yeah, we could bring to the board to drop it another 5 miles, but I don't see how that's gonna,
Well, 35 miles an hour
nobody
is
does
fine.
35 now.
Yeah, it's 35,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
The problem is, they don't pay attention to it. There's no big signs to say. I would like to see a sign say, if you come into Dixie Highway in the Golden Gate and you speed, you will be fined. And it will say an amount, whatever. Something gotta be done. Really, I am so upset over that, because I'm gonna be honest, I worked so hard for Golden Gate. And to see people, after we got it sort of nice and the dream kind of come true, and you see people start dying in there, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
Yeah.
Somebody gotta step in and do something, because I'm out of ideas, to be honest with you.
Well, it's like we've said in the past, the squeaky wheel, if everybody keeps calling the sheriff, they're gonna park a car there. I know that's,
And people in Golden Gate has way out where they don't, some of them don't have the papers. And not long ago, they came and they picked up over 20 people from front of the Jitco gas station. The ICE came over there and they picked up people there. Or they follow them to home and make sure they don't have a driver license, and then they took them and arrest them. I know the sheriff has been doing stuff, but they're doing it upside down. Not with the structure, kind of.
Do you guys discuss this at your NAC meetings when the community outreach deputy is there?
No idea.
Every time, yeah?
You get tired of it, and you feel like, you are just talking and talking, and you are bothering people, let's put it this way. But this one here, I'm not very happy with it. To see a woman get, especially the babies, it just broke my heart. 2 of them, not even one, 7.5 months. She was ready to have her babies. And it's sad. Very, very sad. Who should I go and talk to and sit down and discuss this? Okay, Joey.
The sheriff
trouble
is
with
the
Cedilla.
only one I can think of that is going to be able to do something about the problem.
Well, I
You know,
don't,
unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about the problem. Obviously, none of us here. The sheriff is the only one that has the authority to do that.
Susan, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
I know
sure.
over in New Monrovia, we were having some issues in a certain area, and we did reach out to our community officers. And they started patrolling, and that helped, you know, that's.
We've done that.
yeah. I'm sorry, I got spoiled with the beginning of it, you know, when we really had like drug dealers and, you know, and all kind of stuff, and we have a house of whatever. We had such a good community officers that they used to hide. I used to even ride with them. But we don't have that anymore. I mean, so many things changed. And I wouldn't be surprised because the drug dealers, they're back to Golden Gate. Because it's just, it don't feel safe anymore like we used to. Something gotta be done. Okay, I'll go back to the sheriff and talk to him again, myself.
Okay. Anything else?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Anything else from the staff?
No, thank you.
Okay. So this meeting's adjourned.